Club. This is Bob Desmond, and this is our second edition of the 30-Minute Chart Club. Hopefully, I got the invite out early enough for people to join in. For those folks that are just joining in, this is a private live stream. So if you want to join future live streams, join in on the conversation. There's a link below to the 30-Minute Chart Club. Enter your email address. We hate spam too. You'll get invited to the next live stream. And the reason why we keep it private is for a couple of reasons. One, we only want serious people to join in on the conversation. It doesn't matter if you're experienced or inexperienced, as long as you're serious and you have a passion for trading. We get sometimes spam on our live streams that are open to the public, and we want to avoid that as much as possible and have a real depth conversation. And if in fact you think that you get value out of what I have to say, you track what I have to say, and you say, wow, Jesus, if I would have had trade alerts, if I would have listened to that sound logic, then I would have made money, and the membership to the Contrarian Trader would pay for itself. Also, we're going to be using TrendSpider. That'll be a demo. There's a 35% discount code below. We add value to these sessions. I encourage anybody on this live stream. This is an open forum. We're not going to be doing chart requests per se, but what we're going to be going over are 31 charts. 31 charts. We do same series every single time we meet. Why? It's because we want to know these particular stocks. What are these stocks? They're highly liquid. They're optionable. So suppose you have a small account and you can't afford to short Facebook, which looks like it's going to be a short in the next couple of days, despite the fact that they beat on earnings, on revenues. Well, I'm going to show you in the charts in a couple of minutes where to short them, where to short Facebook. And I'm going to show you how to short it because one of our fellow members, I'm going to share my screen. One of our fellow members, I keep asking people, give me feedback so I can help make this the biggest value that I can possibly make it, and it's free. So one of our fellow members, oh, by the way, this is the link below. Scroll down, enter your email address. We hate spam too. My mouse isn't working. There we go. Just enter your email address. And we're also looking to protect ourselves. We're looking to build up our email list. YouTube has demonetized a couple of my videos, and I'm not too happy about it. So just in case we have to cut the cord with Facebook, who I love Facebook, but you never know. It may be time at some point in time in the future where they tell me we're parting ways, whether I like it or not. I have an email address or email list to be able to get to you and let you know where I can be found and communicate with you. So that's the purpose of this. There are a host of reasons, and I'm hoping to make it more of a value moving forward. What it is right now, we have the basics, but we're looking to make it a lot more than what it is at current. So if you don't mind, I'm taking a sip of scotch. It's that time of night. And please join in. All right, so one of our members, Jeff, had a suggestion, and I thought it was pretty cool. And this is our Slack forum, and this is Jeff's note to me earlier today, because I solicited input for the 30-minute club. Could you pick a lower risk trade to demonstrate on one of the stocks? For example, how to sell premium spread on a contrarian stock idea like UNG, and explain what you were looking at. Basically, he's looking for a trade idea, a trade setup using options. So we're going to do that tonight. So stick around. I have a couple of them that we'll do. We'll do Adobe. We'll do Facebook, and I'll tell you about the whys in a moment. So let's get to it. Let's say hello to people. And there we have the main man, the mission. Trader Isaac, hello, sir. Good to have you there, pal. Yeah, on the charts I review on TrendSpider, I'll be using VWAP. Tim, hey, brother. Pete, welcome. Mark, hello. And there he is. Jeff, you got it, brother. I took your opinion to heart. I looked through the charts already, and I think that Facebook and Adobe are setting up nicely. There may be more, but those are the two that jumped out at me immediately. So let's begin. And again, folks, I have a saved list of charts that we're going to go over. And again, the reason why I have these 31 charts laid out here is that I'm familiar with them. They're liquid, they're optionable. I don't have to worry about getting involved with the trade and having big wide spreads. So automatically I'm going to loss on a trade because they're trading in 25-cent spreads between the bid and the ask, especially on options, could even be wider. I want liquid underlyings, liquid underlyings. That is key. That's why we're going over these charts tonight. So let's begin with the A's. And today we have the Federal Reserve. As everyone knows, they came out and net, what were they? Dovish. End of statement. We don't need to talk about anything else. They were dovish. With that, equities will probably move up higher. Does that mean they go straight up higher? No. And I'll tell you why in a moment. Because as we're looking at the 30-minute charts, you may be asking if you're new, why are we looking at 30-minute charts? What's the significance of the 30-minute chart? I call the 30-minute chart the chart of truth. And it just stopped. For whatever reason, I just call it that because it's like the Rubicon, the borderline between highly volatile 15-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute charts, and then all of a sudden the 30-minute chart, it begins to start smoothing out. You know, it's less volatile. It's more of a reliable breakout intraday. So I'm going to go over a reversal bar in a 30-minute chart where we bought BlackRock the other day. We reviewed it the night before. Actually, 2 nights ago, we bought it. We're profitable on that trade at current. I'll show you the bar that was flashed here and what happened subsequent to that bar flashing a bullish key reversal bar. So Airbnb, first one up, it left the day overbought relative to the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. A lot of these charts are going to look that way, so I don't have to keep repeating what the third standard deviation Bollinger Band is. If you're not familiar, in short, you're not supposed to be there on a relative basis over a 20-period moving average. You're not supposed to be up there. That means that in all probability, you're going to get a retracement. Do you get a crash? No, not necessarily. It just sets up for a nice scalp. And you want to be in, you want to be out to the short side. Why do you want to be in and out to the short side? Because the trend is up, right? So if we're going to short, we don't want to bet that it's going to crash and break down to new lower lows. That's a sucker's bet. We're seeing an overbought condition here. And if they pump this up higher, which we hope that they do, then we could look to short Airbnb. But I have a couple of other ones I like better than Airbnb. But Airbnb, first one up, left the day overbought relative to its third standard deviation Bollinger Band in green. In red. Stochastics looking strong here. Very strong chart. We're going to get a pullback, then probable higher highs. No trade to really be had there that I prefer. Like Adobe here, I prefer more. Let's talk about the whys. 30-minute chart, same situation here. Overbought relative to the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. The however is RSI, unlike Adobe, unlike Airbnb, Airbnb has RSI nearly 72, whereas Adobe has RSI at around 85. That's sexy. That's unsustainable. So you could see that as the shorts were getting squeezed into the close, you saw topping action, topping tails. That means that you had sellers above. So that what that leads me to conclude is that if I were to take a look at a weekly chart, a daily chart, a monthly chart, there's probably overhead supply above. So what did we do? We did this. Let's go over to TrendSpider. Link below, 35% discount code. TrendSpider, one of our partners. And the first one up is going to be Adobe. Okay, so I already did the homework on this one. This is a weekly chart. And you'll note that, wow, you take a look at this, and we can head higher here. We can head all the way up to 392 on Adobe. So it doesn't look like on a weekly time frame we have a lot of resistance above. That all changes when you overlay monthly resistance. And you can see here that right above in dash line on this weekly chart, we have monthly resistance immediately above. So if we hit, let's call it 387 tomorrow, where do we leave today? what was our high of that? My mouse is so wonky. The high of the day was just shy of that, 386.72. We closed at 383.92. So we're right there. We could short this for a very short term scalp, not an overnight trade. I would not short this overnight unless you short it tomorrow and the thing just falls apart. Still, I might not even carry it overnight. So what I would look to do here is this, and this is what Jeff was looking for. First off, you want to make the determination of as to whether or not you want to buy the options or do you want to sell the options? Do you want to be the banker? Do you want to be the casino or do you want to be the gambler or the borrower? Now, what makes a big difference here is one, your probabilities of profit. If you have low probability of profit, you certainly do not want to be an options buyer. You need to have an edge. Two, the options, if you're going to buy them, need to be cheap. If you're going to sell them, they need to be expensive. So what we need to do first is go shopping for options and take a look at, are the options expensive? And we'll take a quick peek. This takes seconds. Unless I'm not ready for the show, then I'm going to pop it in. Okay. So what we do here is we take a look, and I want to know the current IV percentile. How expensive are these options? And for rule of thumb, an option below 20 is cheap, 20 percentile. So if this said 19, still cheap, 20, still cheap. Above that, I'm reluctant to buy options. But if the options premium, if this said 50 or above, 40 or above, then I would be selling premium. So looking at the options, I'm saying to myself, if this stock begins to correct, my implied volatility were I to purchase the option would balloon out. The demand for those options would expand, thereby increasing the value of my option. Now, if I sell it, I don't want it to expand. I want it to contract, but these are so cheap, you're wasting your time selling premium. So what I would do here, I would be a buyer of the option. Now, you may be saying, wait a minute, Bob, Jesus Christ. I have a small account. You're talking about a stock that's over 350 bucks. You're out of your mind. This is not for me. I got to walk away from this. No, it's still for you. Let's talk about it. So I'm going to bring up Adobe. This is this is off my trading platform. And what we're going to do here is I want to identify my probabilities. So I'm going to use a one standard plus, as I like to call it, a one standard deviation move. And I goose a little bit to give my odds of probability of profits much higher. So what I could do here is if I think that we're going to correct this week, I may stay front week here. And it's for a short-term trade. If I was selling premium, but now that I'm buying the premium, well, I want to go longer because I don't want the time decay. So what I would probably do is go out at a bare minimum at, let's go 40 days. So my premium would be 440 to the upside, and we closed at 383. So what we could do here is this. What strike did I say? February 20. Oh, no, I'm sorry. March the 3rd. March the 3rd. So go out to March the 3rd, buy at 385, and then simultaneously sell. That's a 52 delta. Sell a 405 call. So buy to open, that's accurate. Something doesn't look right here. My estimated cost. It should be telling me my probability of profit, not my probability of profit, my max profitability. For some reason, it's not. I'm buying. Why is it not telling me? I may have been logged out here. Let me try to reboot back in. Okay. All right. So let's try this again. Adobe. I want to buy to open. Actually, you know what? That's why I wanted puts, puts, because we're betting on a short. So we could do 385, sell a. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I have these setups wrong. 365. There we go. That's right. Okay, so what I could do here is I could short a 385 put option or buy a put option and simultaneously sell a put option expiring out on March the 3rd. Good. So to purchase the option, I would pay $12.95 for a 385 strike. That's subject to change. It's basically an at the money option. And then simultaneously sell a corresponding out of the money option, a put option. So that helps to finance the trade. So rather than going into the market and buying a $12.95 put, what I do is I accept less profitability, but I sell a put because it helps finance the trade. So in reality, the cost of this trade is only $7.08, assuming I were to get filled right here, right now. My max profit on this trade would be $1,292. So not a bad deal. If you're very confident that the shares are going to correct and correct pretty hard, then you can go either A, eliminate the sale of the option, or B, expand out, take in less credit as much as you feel comfortable with, but maximize your gain. So you can see I sold a deep out of the money put to help offset the purchase of the put option, and my max gain increased dramatically by fivefold. So it really depends upon your risk reward. What makes you sleep okay? What makes you comfortable during the day? Is if you're drinking coffee, especially if you want to be buying options for a short-term swing trade. So that's one way to trade it, or wait till it hits resistance and then short the common stock if your account allows you to do that. If you have that type of capital, I have a pretty sizable account, but you know what? I would buy the options instead because they're cheap. And I know going in, my max loss, I know the maximum I could possibly lose on the trade is the premium paid. So that's Adobe. So we're looking for a resistance level at around 387 per share on that rally tomorrow. If we do get that, then we'll be looking to short Adobe. Now, I'll go to comment questions before I leave here, just in case there are any. Yeah, thanks, Blake. Yeah, I caught that later on. So thank you very much. You're welcome, Jeff. Okay. All right. So if there are any questions on that, please let me know and we'll go over it. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's one way to trade a high dollar stock with a small account. Now, moving on, and that was only one contract. So that's Adobe. Now, moving on to Amazon, a little bit extended here. It looks as though we're probably going to pull back. There's no trade to be had here. I would prefer to short Adobe relative to Amazon. Why? Again, RSI is more expensive on Adobe than what it is on Amazon. And you have the same Bollinger Band setup. So I prefer Adobe for a scalp. I'm glad, Jeff. Yeah, I know it's complicated, and I think it's very, very wise to go back, rewatch a few times, and let it sink in. Paper trade it, especially if you have Thinkorswim. Definitely paper trade if it's your first time. Tim, good point. Tomorrow, yeah, I believe tomorrow's Apple, Amazon, and Google, Alphabet, I believe as well. So keep that in mind. Thank you for pointing that out, Tim. Apple, which is as well coming out with earnings. Not much to do here. 30-minute chart, overbought, probably going to get a pullback. I think it's a buy. Were it not for earnings, I would think that a retrace back down to 144 would make it a buy. But given the fact that it's going to report earnings, I'll wait to see whether or not I want to do an earnings trade on it. Broadcom. Again, I prefer Adobe over Broadcom here. Similar chart setups, but the RSI on Adobe is looking more attractive. We're moving on here to an industrial name, Boeing, 30-minute chart, consolidating within a triangle formation. I would be a buyer on a breakout above 215.50 and a close on a 30-minute time frame above that mark. It doesn't matter if at 3:45 Eastern Standard Time we're above. I don't care if it's 216. I care about 10 a.m. Are we above 215.50? If so, then we could put on a position on Boeing. Volume to the close is pretty heavy to the downside. BlackRock. So this is one, again, these are all 30-minute charts. This is one that the other day here flashed a bullish key reversal bar. And we bought a call spread pretty much similar to what I just laid out on Adobe, that type of trade, except to the call side, to the bull side, rather than to the bear side, to the put side. So you can see that we consolidated after that reversal bar, rallied, pulled back higher low, and then we shot up higher, and we are now profitable on this trade, all because of this chart. Obviously, we looked at the daily chart to make sure that BlackRock was looking sound on a daily time frame, and it was right back here, consolidating nicely. We're just off of recent highs, and it looks as though we're going to break out to new higher highs. Now, before we go any further, I want to populate TrendSpider with Adobe so we could track this. So we're liking Adobe into tomorrow. BlackRock we already have. Chipotle Mexican Grill, not much going on here. A reversal off that 3D Bollinger Band. You can see how all of these charts reversed off of that 3D Bollinger Band, right? So it's really significant once we begin to test that. It's unsustainable. That being said, Chipotle's in an uptrend. So I wouldn't do anything here until we get up to this rising upper band of resistance. And then I would look to short it up there and look to see whether or not it retraces back down to this lower band of support. And then I would look to book profits. Coinbase. Now, this is one that's pretty interesting that did not reverse off of the 3D Bollinger Band. It came in a little bit, but it closed out the session above the 3D Bollinger Band. RSI, Adobe's still more attractive. We have that more of an unsustainable overbought level 30-minute chart on Adobe than what we do on Coinbase. So I'm still going to stick with Adobe as our short of choice going into tomorrow. CrowdStrike. Big volume into the close, but a lot of these stocks saw the same thing. I don't see a trade to be had here better than the Adobe trade. It may come in more than Adobe, but I like the probability of profit, the setup better on Adobe. And that's all we're really doing here is we're looking for the best setup. And we're looking at the same charts over and over again. We get a feel for how they're trading, and we become familiar with them. Disney's looking very good here. I know they're coming out with earnings soon. We have higher lows on Stochastic. So this is a bullish setup. Nice little bull flag setup, and we broke out of it. So this is one where I wouldn't buy it, but if we retrace back down to retest this breakout point here at around 108, you get a low 108 handle. I think that this stock could be a buy, assuming that the overall market is holding up and moving up higher. You get a pullback on Disney to 108. I think that's an entry point. Just beware of earnings. DocuSign, another one, very overbought on a 30-minute time frame. How's our RSI? No, it's only 72. All they need to do is just trade this sideways for a couple of bars and then push it up higher. So I would rather avoid this one than trade it. Domino's Pizza, big reversal, final 30-minute bar, pause that refreshes. I'm not seeing a trade here on an intraday basis. Avoid it. Google, Alphabet, overbought again relative to that third standard deviation Bollinger Band. Huge short squeeze today. You don't get this often. All these stocks this overbought, so you have to pick the best of breed. And Adobe still number one. RSI here on Google is only 74. You may get a pullback to 100. Remember, earnings coming out tomorrow on Google. Now, Meta, this is one that's really interesting to me because after hours, this stock is screaming up higher. Can we get after hours price action here? Yeah, we can. Here we are after hours. Take a look at RSI on, on this stock. And believe it or not, we're not even at resistance yet. 186 is resistance. How do I know that? Oh, sorry, wrong symbol. Still can't get out of that habit. So here's Meta, weekly chart. Where's the monthly, daily? I could have sworn it was 186. No, it's actually 187.42. 187.42. So if we see tomorrow that we hit 187 with RSI 95 or higher, we're going to be looking to short Meta for a pretty sizable pullback. But we're not going to want to stick around too long in the trade because in all probability, it's going to go up higher. They had a sound earnings report, big share buyback. So this is not a longer term short. So I'd be careful with shorting it overnight. Microsoft, overbought. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about Meta trade entry. Very similar to Adobe. All right, so we want to go out a couple of months, avoid that time decay. We're not going to be here long. So let's do a hypothetical. Let's say we close out 153 to keep this all simple. You could do a couple of things. I prefer to go deeper in the money, like a 160 put, and then sell a deeper out of the money put to help finance the trade. So if you're going to buy the share, buy the options outright, the put options to short Meta, you would be paying $13.30 per contract. But if you sell simultaneously a deep out of the money put contract, well, it reduces your basis cost of that trade. Now, obviously, your max gain is decreased dramatically. $955 is the max gain for one contract here, but you can adjust that. So if you want to try to make more, you got to widen out your strikes. You go out to a 138, you'll make max $1,027. If you're confident that this stock is just going to go straight down due to a correction, which I would probably do, I'd probably get rid of this. I would just go naked on it, and I would buy an in the money put option, let it correct, cover, out. So that would be the trade on Meta, or just short the common stock around 187. Between 187 and $200 a share in that buffer zone, because you're going to have a lot of institutional shorts getting squeezed tomorrow, so you may overshoot to the upside. Microsoft, bearish reversal bar at the close. Nothing sexy here. No reason to go shorting it. No reason to go buying it. Moderna, interesting one here. Not on this chart per se, but when I took a look at TrendSpider, it looked a lot more appetizing to me. We've shorted this a couple of times. Do I have this set up right? Yeah. Here's a chart here, in fact. So you can see that 30-minute chart. Moderna rallied off the lows. We're going to be rallying up and into this resistance line here at around 176.50. We get up there, you could short into that resistance level. The however is, if we break out above it and close there, consolidate, I would close out that short. So I think that it's probably going to rally higher here and then stall and then break to lower lows. I think these names are in a lot of trouble, Pfizer included, but this is a higher dollar stock. I think it'll drop in sympathy with Pfizer. So Moderna is going to stay on our watch list. Meta is going to be on there along with Adobe. Now we got to pick one more to track. We can always add more here if we want to. There's Meta. Look at them spiking it after hours. Wow. Like no downticks whatsoever on Meta. Shorts are going to get annihilated tomorrow. Okay, moving on. Nike, 30-minute chart. Nothing sexy here. No reason to buy it. No reason to short it. We move on. And these are our quick hits. We look, we move on. Netflix, reversal bar. We were short of Netflix as of yesterday morning. We booked profits right here. When they try to take it down, then it reversed, and we got out. Nothing sexy here. NVIDIA. Nothing sexy here. No reason to buy it. No reason to short it. PayPal. 30-minute chart. Reversal bar. Not overbought yet. You really can't consider a stock with a Bollinger Band being pierced, the third standard deviation Bollinger Band being pierced, as overbought. Is it extended? Yes. It doesn't necessarily mean it must correct. All they need to do is just trade sideways and then move up higher. So if you have both RSI and the third standard deviation Bollinger Band being pierced, that's attractive. So that's why I prefer Adobe still and Meta of all these charts to the short side tomorrow, because I think you're going to get a reaction tomorrow to the downside. It may not close down, but you're going to get a reaction to the downside, much as you saw into the close today. Qualcomm, again, another chart. It's extended. I wouldn't short it. I wouldn't buy it. It's an uptrend. Shopify, on the verge of a breakout. I'd be a buyer of the breakout. Little bull flag setup going there. Let's make sure the daily chart looks good. Yeah. Yeah. It's looking good. Target, 30-minute chart. Very extended here. I think that they report earnings in March, so there's no worry about Target here for earnings. RSI 81.46. So you're going to get a reaction to the downside tomorrow on Target, but I still prefer Adobe. The options on Target are not as liquid as they are on Adobe. Salesforce.com. Extended, nothing to do here per se. Twilio, 30-minute chart. Extended. RSI could still go higher. Prefer Adobe and Meta. Tesla, we have a position here. Left a day overbought. We're probably going to get a reaction to the downside at some point in time tomorrow. Again, Adobe or Meta. Walmart, nothing to do here at all. Zoom. I was long of the call options here. I sold them too quick. I left a lot of money on the table here. God damn it. All right, what are you going to do? You live to play another day. Hey, folks, that is it for this evening. Let me go to comments. If there's any questions, yep. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, Google, Amazon, Apple tomorrow. All right, folks, thanks for being here. If you're watching this on the replay, you want to join in the conversation, please enter your email address below. We hate spam too. Join the 30-minute chart club. Thanks for being here all. Blake, new to your channel. I am 19 and trade full-time, but I use a different approach. So I love seeing your take on the 30-minute. You have earned my... Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Blake. Thank you very much for being here. Folks, everybody have an awesome night. Thank you for being here. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Be well. Take care.